Tbull. Today we're going to look at the new Hyuga for you, Tier 5 Japanese Premium Battleship. Takagi, there's the build on the screen there. Here's a look at the ship. Now, we're getting to the armor schemes here for a second. You can see Hyuga. We're going to note stronger armor on the sides, but in the front there, pay attention to the nose section. Even though the armor better in the Hyuga, it doesn't have quite the plating on the front end of the nose like the Fuso, which is the ship we're primarily going to be comparing it to. So a little bit of an advantage with the Fuso when it's getting hit directly in the nose, especially at the waterline. But in the sides, Hyuga going to have the better armor scheme. Now, this is the first game I played in. This is also the world record. We beat the previous world record that was set earlier today by about 30k. I think it's probably my highest damage Tier 5 Battleship game that I can ever remember playing. I mean, I'm not going to say it is or isn't, but it's pretty ridiculous. My first game in this, so I think it's a pretty strong ship. We'll compare it to the Fuso briefly, then we'll jump into the game. One thing you might not notice right off the bat, we get 30 points more HP per second healed in the Hyuga over the Fuso. Sometimes those consumables don't jump out as people as much. But just looking at the ship stats, Hyuga, we got about 3,600 more HP to begin with. A little bit less range, half kilometer on my build. Second faster reload on the Fuso. 4-second better turret traverse on the Hyuga. Now, I tend to prefer turret traverse pretty much over anything on offensive stats. Range, these Japanese battleships at max range, what are you going to do with them? You can't hit anything anyways. But the turret traverse just much more. I feel like that's kind of a influence on the overall match damage per minute that's kind of not accounted for by a lot of people. Same damage in terms of shells, fire chance between these two ships. AA rating 2 points goes to the Fuso, so essentially roughly the same AA. A little bit faster, about a half kilometer faster in the Hyuga. Bigger turn radius on this one, but not by a huge amount. Just looks like about 10. And then rudder shift comparable. It's 0.1 seconds longer in this. My Hyuga's got significantly better camo by a full kilometer, actually, sea detection. But I got a level 1 camo on my Fuso and a level 4 camo on this. So that's tough to compare. If anyone wants to do the math and let us know in the comments what the difference would be, feel free to be my guest. Okay, so normally in these early impressions videos like this, I would like to play 10 games or so. My teammates demonstrated pretty readily to me tonight that they weren't doing anything except for playing grab ass on the edges of the map. So I only played about 4 or 5 games in the Hyuga and 1 game in the Fuso to remind me about that ship's gun performance. Fuso's always been kind of a fun ship, but the guns randomized. Now, these ones seem randomized as well, but I'm going to tell you, I got a fair amount of high damage games in this one. Fuso, I think the one game I played, I got like 80k or something, which wasn't a bad game. I think it was actually a high caliber match because it was all cruisers that match, but, the guns just weren't quite as ripping. I did also try a game with the niche build, the Arthas the Cold or whatever, where you launch the planes to get more damage, the fighter planes. Decent build. Didn't do quite as well as in this one, but I had a pretty decent game with that one as well. So I think it seems more accurate to me. I feel like the alpha or the whatever the hidden accuracy ratings are on this thing just seems a little bit better. Yeah, sometimes the horizontal dispersion will still be pretty wide and wide-reaching, but overall, I feel like the gun performance on this is pretty good. So if you like the Japanese battleships, Hyuga, I think, is probably... you can make the case it's the best one we've seen so far. I don't know. I still need a few more games in it to fully come to that conclusion. But, those of you guys that watch the channel a lot know I would like to favor guns that have accurate... or ships that have accurate guns, especially battleships. And this one, compared to most of the Japanese battleships I can think of off the top of my mind, just seems better. Okay, we got a small sample size, about 5 games played, yes. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but in my limited experience, that's what we got done. So, jumping in this match here, Our destroyer, well, he made it about 2-3 minutes. He got bored, so he just kind of got himself killed. No big deal. We did get the Graf Spee, which was the one threatening him. I was trying to warn the T-64, T-44, whatever that thing was. Get off the cap. You got German cruiser rushing you. Unbeknownst to him, he had no clue that he was in danger. Got rushed, got blown up. So we're down the destroyer. That's going to be a problem. You can see, well, we did get A. The team did a good job jumping out there to get A. Everyone else, myself included, we're kind of backline Bettys. I'm the furthest far forward that we can see on the map, it looks like, except for the one battleship right to the center of the left screen there. But the caps are going to be an issue here, okay? So we're appreciative of the points we're getting from A, but we don't really have an opportunity to pressure B, C, under red jurisdiction here in just a few moments. Looks like the destroyer got onto C and is going to go ahead and flip that cap. So we're going to do our best to basically commit to killing everyone here, because when your team concedes all the caps, well, you got to win the brawls, okay? And winning the brawls is usually about a 50-50 proposition going on the match. And if your team doesn't play the caps, then you're going to lose probably about 75% of your games, okay? Because you're going to lose all the games that come down to score if your team doesn't play the score, especially if you don't play the score, because that's all you can influence. And then the brawls, who kills the most ships, that's about a 50-50 proposition. It just happens to be who fights better in that particular battle. So we're electing to go the hard way. 118,000 damage, 5 minutes and 40 seconds into this match here. And you can see we've used reload boosters, both of them. Okay, now this thing, huge advantage, 2 reload boosters. And that's nice. A lot of the ships that have them, I think you just get 1. At least the, I'm thinking like French destroyers. Maybe there's a few battleships that you get a couple of them. But, those are just opportunities. You want to hold those until you think you're pretty likely to get decent shots. Okay, if you got someone who looks like he's going to be broadside for a couple salvos, or maybe got multiple targets that are presenting nice opportunities, we'll go ahead and fire that off. You can get some nice shots off. I think the reload, once you activate it, it's like 10 seconds, 11 seconds, something like that. So at this point in time, we're shooting for these cruisers, hoping to blow up the Furutaka. That is a relatively sturdy Tier 4 cruiser. It seems to be probably the sturdiest, in my opinion. And since he was fairly heavily angled there, I wasn't necessarily planning on blowing him up, but I was hopeful. We got an issue here, New Mexico on the left. He's taking A. We, of course, need to be very aggressive at this point in time, since our team is attempting to throw the game as hard as they can. In fact, we're down a ship, and now we're going to be down 2 caps. They're flipping our 1 income producer. So we already got crossfire shots all the way to the east. The further far north we go, the more of a crossfire shot we got from the New Mexico on the left. And we do have the carrier back there. I'd love to shoot him, but New Mexico's got to be first. He's the bigger threat to us. We're pinging the cruisers. Devon Schwag, the Furutaka, get these guys off the board. Battleships, come on, guys. We got to be shooting cruisers. That's the main job. Whenever you get a decent shot, go ahead and get them off there. New Mexico, though, we're trading. We're in trouble here. We're down to about 17,000. He's got at least 20, 30,000 there. 25, 30,000, whatever it is. So it's going to come down to brawling here. Hoping we can use this guy here on the left as bait. He's taking the lead here. He looks like he's trying to rush him. Probably torp him 1 kilometer away, aka commit suicide. That's fine, because we don't have the HP to spare. If he wants to go ahead and tank some shots for me, fine. I don't care. Torp's coming in for the Oba. He splits the difference there, unfortunately. Due to our proximity behind him, we do take that. But no flood, no major damage there. And, we're tied up into ships now, down about 50 points. That's going to only expand as the game goes on here. But New Mexico, he's still going broadside here. Wham! Aoba and Hyuga plus the carrier all bombing in on him at the same time. 174,000 damage. Come on now. We still got 6.5 minutes left here. This thing, nasty. Okay. Normally we talk about just going ahead and killing like the cruisers or maybe sometimes destroyers that are problematic. Usually it's light cruisers. I don't know. I mean, I've seen a few of these out there. Now, the ones I've seen on my team spent most of the games hiding behind the island, so I couldn't get a read from their performance on if they were having any success or not. But in my limited experience, I've most of the games I think I had more high caliber games than not. Okay, let's just put it that way. So it's a pretty decent ship. Oh, Ranger, we didn't quite blow him up in one hit there, but we came pretty dang close. He's in trouble. He's on the ropes. He's got that plane. Now, what does he do? I mean, he's got the Oba rushing him. Probably got to get rid of him first. But I'm going to go ahead. Initially, I didn't think I'd be able to get another shot on him. But we're checking this as we're pulling forward. Okay, it looks like we might be able to squeeze one more. Sure, get the guns back into position. And that's where that nice fast turret traverse comes in. Get the shots off. Boom. Let's see if they hit. Okay, 3 over pins. Not quite the kill, but he's got to be really close to death now. So, Aoba does go ahead and get him off there. Perfect. He managed to stay alive longer than we thought, and he got the kill on the carrier, which frees up our attention. Okay, because we don't want to be fiddling around with him. We're going to get on the base here. We need everyone on the bases. We need to stop the bleeding. If we can get A, well, then they're just generating points from C. We're generating points from A. And since we now have a big ship lead, at least the background score is kind of frozen in place, at least temporarily. But those guys in the back, come on, let's go. Yeah, there's a destroyer out there. Big deal. You're going to get torped sometimes. That's life. Go ahead and get on the caps. We'll keep pinging them over and over again. It's because I don't like losing games that we should be winning, even though it happens all the time. It's because these guys don't want to get on the caps. Go ahead and get on the caps, guys. They're going to do a good job from here on out, though, shooting this destroyer. That's kind of the last key to the game. Okay, the destroyer hasn't taken a hit yet, but once they're going to get some opportunities to get them, they do a pretty good job converting that. So we'll go ahead and we got the cap. We'll bomb on the ships as we get shots on them. And that'll be that. We'll see how high it gets here, but it's a pretty juicy damage game already, and we do add more. So, Hyuga, what do I think? I actually think it's pretty good, okay? Like I said, I usually like to have just a smidge more, probably about twice as much experience in the ship before I do give my kind of impressions on it, but as you can tell, the salt is thick out there, and it's getting in my eyes tonight, so I can only handle so much these days, and we're just going to have to go with it as. But accurate in terms of Japanese battleships, yes. It seems tankier than the Fuso by and large. You just have to be aware that you do have a little bit of a weak spot on that nose for higher caliber guns, potentially to take shots at you. But those are usually going to be easier to hit closer range anyways. So, if you play it right, I think you can mitigate that to a large extent. Maneuverability good. Any ship with 12 guns or more is usually fun to play as well. So I think the fun factor for the Hyuga is there. I think the effectiveness is there, and I think it's a pretty good ship, at least in my early impressions. So you guys let me know what you guys are thinking so far. That those of you that have got the ship, let us know in the comments if you think I got it right or wrong. And the rest of you, let me know if you think you're going to be interested in that ship or not. That's going to do it for the look at the Hyuga, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, hey, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming for you all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below. Love to hear from you. And we'll see y'all later. Peace.